Grace Mirchea Luslec, one of the most interesting characters in all of Tower of God, and we haven't even met him yet, and yet he's so interesting, and we do know some information about this guy, but he is completely shrouded in mystery. We know some from blog posts and a character profile that SIU posted once and little hints here and there, but today we're gonna break down everything we know about the lore behind Grace Mirchea Luslec. If you guys like Tower of God lore videos, then don't forget to leave a like on this one because that tells me you want more of it, and I am more than happy to make more. And subscribe for that daily content on Tower of God, Webtoon, and just all kinds of fun stuff. So don't forget to do that. Also, a huge shout out to KF-SSI. They're a fantastic Tower of God artist, and I commissioned them for this Luslec art that you see in the thumbnail and that I'll be showing throughout the vid. It looks fantastic. It's just our own, creative take on Mirchea, and I absolutely love it. So if you want to commission them, I'll link their Twitter in the description. They just make a ton of awesome Tower of God fan art, so definitely go check them out. So Grace Mirchea Luslec is the #1 Slayer and the leader of Thug. He's basically the one who founded Thug. So if you haven't seen our Tower of God lore video on Thug, you can check that out by clicking the card. But Thug was founded by this guy, one of the most dangerous and secretive organizations in all of the Tower was founded by this guy. He's ranked number 15, which places him above some of the 10 family heads, right? Just a couple of them. And he's one of the only non-irregulars to be ranked that high. The only other two that I can think of being Adori and Malik PGR. So this guy is nuts. He's a fisherman. He's known for being devastating with his black hook. So as far as combat goes, Mirchea is an absolute monster. I mean, there is a reason he's also ranked #1 Slayer, right? He's held that position all this time. So it's interesting because he is the leader of Thug, but Thug is known to have a bunch of different subgroups and sects and organizations within itself. It's more like a religion and a cult. It's not really like a completely structured thing. However, he still is considered to be the top dog in Thug. His nickname is Tigerfish, which I find really interesting because both tiger and fish are terms that have been used in Tower of God. So in the newer translation, the line translation, during the hide and seek test, Quant calls Bomb a baby tiger, and then he goes on to call Endorsi a tiger. And I know in the older translation of that, he calls him a shark, and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, fish have just been used constantly throughout Tower of God. I just think it's interesting that they kind of combined those two things. Probably just a coincidence, but I thought I'd point it out anyway. But he's also called the god of devils or demon king, which is super interesting. So in our artwork, in KFSSI's artwork, we incorporated some horns. We don't know if he really is a devil or a demon or whatever, but maybe it's interesting. Maybe he comes from a race of demons, or it could just be that he's sly and manipulative or something along those lines, like a shadow. He is known as the absolute darkness of the Tower, so it's more likely that it's just referring to the kind of things he's done or the person he is, and not he's an actual demon. But I think it'd be interesting if he did have horns. We've seen many characters in Tower of God with horns. You've got Endorsi, you've got Ho. I mean, actually so many characters. And so it'd be interesting if he was one of them. Talking about Mirchea's background a little bit, he was actually born on the 80th floor of the Tower, and yet he is known as one of the original people who climbed the Tower. So not necessarily he didn't enter the Tower with them, but he did join their group at some point and did help with their climb. He was a part of the squad for a while, which is super interesting, and I'm wondering if maybe the group met him on the 80th floor, or maybe he traveled down from the 80th floor and met with them and they climbed up. It's more likely, in my opinion, that they met him on the 80th floor, because if you think about it, Jihad and his friends were the ones that started this whole organization within the Tower, so maybe he just lived in the 80th floor, and then when he met them, he was like, there's more to this Tower, and he climbed with them. I think that'd be really interesting. Now, the key behind Mirchea, because, okay, here's the thing. We don't know exactly why he started Thug, what his motives were, or what's going on there, but we can guess. And that comes from the fact that Mirchea is a loyal, devout follower of V. Obviously, V being Bomb's father. So Mirchea was a warlord, a very powerful warrior who served under V. We don't know why. Maybe V saved his life, or maybe Mirchea respected V very much and decided to follow him. We don't know the specifics, but Mirchea served under V. So it's possible that during the civil war between Jihad and V's followers, and with Jihad ultimately winning in the end, as far as we know, that whole conflict is pretty shrouded in mystery, it's possible that Mirchea decided to create Fug to enact revenge or vengeance for V. You know, he wants to take down Jihad in V's place, or to avenge him, to fulfill his goal as V's follower. You know, I can see that happening. He seemed to be very loyal to V, which ends up being passed on to V's son, which we're going to talk about in a second. The other interesting thing that I want to mention before getting into Bomb and everything is that Mirchea's name is Grace Mirchea Luslec. V's wife is Arlen Grace. Now, that could be a coincidence, we really don't know, but it is worth pointing out. You know, maybe Mirchea loved them so much that he took her name? We don't really know, or we don't know. I'm theorizing here, this is off the cuff. But I feel like it's too great of coincidence, you know? Especially since Bomb's name in Fug is Viralaine Grace. Really interesting stuff. Now, we do know, like 99%, that Viralaine's name, like Grace, the Grace in his name does actually come from Mirchea. It's interesting, you know, Bomb's Fug name does not come from his mother, Arlen Grace, but actually from Grace Mirchea Luslec. Maybe all three are connected, but we know for sure those two are connected. So just talking about Bomb, Mirchea almost adopts him in a weird way into Fug. You know, he's not really like a dad to him. I don't think, Bomb has never even met Mirchea, right? However, Mirchea is really interested in Bomb and his success and in his journey to becoming stronger, and not just on a power-hungry level. We know that he actually genuinely cares for Bomb, and he's concerned for Bomb. Kind of like Jin Sung, which makes a lot of sense because this is his master's son. Of course he'd care. So for example, when he found out, we know from like Jin Sung that when Mirchea found out about the shenanigans during the workshop battle and when Karaka's minions tried to kill Bomb, Mirchea was surprised and not happy, right? And it's not just from a, oh, we need Viralaine to take down Jihad perspective. It's not, because also Jin Sung knew that Mirchea would be cool with Bomb's companions being Team Sweet and Sour. Once Jin Sung was convinced that these guys were good for Bomb, he knew Mirchea would agree. So Mirchea isn't in this just for the end goal. He genuinely is in it for Bomb's success. Like it's sort of similar to Jin Sung. I think Jin Sung is on a more personal level attached to Bomb, but Mirchea knows this is V's son. So I find that really interesting. Speaking along those lines, it does seem that Jin Sung and Mirchea are somewhat close. You know, they're friends. Like I said, Jin Sung knew that if he was convinced, Jin Sung, then so would Mirchea. Like he knew that Mirchea would be cool with it if Jin Sung was cool with it. So it seems that Mirchea places a great deal of trust in Jin Sung. And obviously when Jin Sung was captured, he was sad. He wanted to rescue him. He couldn't necessarily, but when he found out that Bomb was strong enough to fight rankers, that was the push that Luslec needed. He wanted to make sure Bomb was ready, which also ties back into caring about Bomb. You know, he didn't want Bomb to rush in there. He's not like this. It really puts into perspective Luslec. Is Luslec this good guy or bad guy, somewhat in between? You know, why is he called a demon? Is he twisted? Maybe just because of what Fug does. He's known as that, but maybe he actually is a decent guy. Maybe he's just driven by his want for vengeance for V's sake. It's really interesting. Another relationship that we know is that he's pretty chill with Hwaryun calling him Lord, and him giving her direct orders and her responding directly to him. And he's like the top guy in Fug. That says a lot, so it seems the two of them are actually pretty chill too. So yeah, overall, Grace Mirchea Luslec, that's pretty much all we know. He's also a pretty tall boy. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. He is over 6'4", almost 6'5". So this guy is pretty terrifying. I mean, well, we don't know if he's terrifying. I'm assuming he is, but I can imagine him as this like tall shadow of a man with horns, you know, like our picture here, just super intimidating, but maybe like soft-spoken. That's what I imagine, but I'm really curious to see what he actually looks like in the story and how he acts, but we really won't know until he shows up. But regardless, that's Grace Mirchea Luslec, a guy so powerful and so influential that his organization has lasted for years and thousands of years. I mean, so long, and its influence has held so strongly. And we know that if he acts, Luslec herself, himself, Luslec himself, as far as we know, he's a guy. The 10 family heads would have to intervene. That says a lot. You know, this guy has some massive influence, not just within Fug, but outside of Fug. He is a powerhouse. I can't wait to see him in the story. I'm so excited. That is all, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you want more thoughts on Luslec, one of the reasons I made this video is because Haku of the Tubes made a top 10 underrated characters in Tower of God video, which was super interesting. I really liked it. So I'll link that also here. You can check it out here. And he talks about Luslec. Luslec is, spoilers, one of those characters. So I thought that was really interesting. You know, I don't find many people in the community talking about Mirchea. I'm calling him Mirchea or Luslec. I'm not really sure which is the right one, but it's really interesting. So definitely check that out. And if you want more information on Luslec, then stay tuned, because if we do find out more, I'll definitely keep making videos on him. He's one of those characters that I feel like as the story progresses, especially now that Fug is being more and more involved, I'm assuming we're gonna either find out a lot more info about him somewhat soon, or actually meet him. I think that'd be crazy, but we'll see. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Once again, huge shout out to KF-SSI for this amazing commission. I absolutely love the artwork and the interpretation. It's super great, so definitely go check them out. And if you liked the video, leave a like, and again, subscribe for more of that daily content. And with that, I'll see you guys in my next Tower of God lore video. Take care.